I never imagined a single message could shake the ground under my feet. But that morning, as I stood in the kitchen pouring coffee into a cracked ceramic mug, my entire world shifted by just 13 words. A message from an unknown number lit up my screen. Don't go to your daughter's wedding. Run, before it's too late. I froze. My first thought wasn't fear. It wasn't confusion. It was anger. My daughter Emma was getting married in 2 days. Everything was already stressful as it was. The planning, the disagreements, the rehearsals, the fragile silence between me and my ex-wife. And now this? A random threat? A stupid prank? At least that's what I told myself at first. But something about those words didn't feel like a joke. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered above the call button. I shouldn't have called back. I know that now. But I did. The phone rang only once before someone answered. It wasn't a voice. It wasn't breathing. It was whispering. Shaky, uneven, terrified whispering. Like the person on the other side was hiding in a closet, afraid to even exist. Don't go, they breathed. Please, if you go, everything will fall apart. What are you talking about? I snapped. Who is this? What do you want from me? There was a soft thud on the other end, like the phone had slipped from a trembling hand. Then a door creaked. Footsteps. Heavy breathing. It's not safe there, the voice whispered. They lied to you. They've been lying for years. And the wedding is the final step. My stomach nodded. What final step? I demanded, but the whisper didn't answer directly. Instead, in a trembling voice, they said, Ask yourself, why are you really not invited to walk her down the aisle? That sentence felt like a punch to the chest. I had never told anyone, not even my closest friends. Emma's mother, my ex-wife Laura, had insisted her new husband walk our daughter down the aisle. She had told me Emma preferred it. She told me not to make things uncomfortable. She said Emma didn't want drama. I believed her. Or maybe I let myself believe her because it hurt too much to think the alternative. So how did the stranger know? My throat tightened. Tell me who you are. But all I heard was a rushed, panic-filled whisper. There's no time. Don't go. If you show up, they'll finish what they started. What the hell does that mean? But the call abruptly ended. Silence swallowed the room. The phone slipped from my hand and clattered on the counter. I didn't know it yet, but that message wasn't a warning. It was a first crack in a truth that had been buried under lies for years. A truth that would tear open my past, my family, and everything I thought I knew about my own daughter. And it all began with a stranger telling me not to go to her wedding. Growing up, Emma used to call me her hero. She'd run into my arms when I came home from work, show me her crayon drawings, and tell me she was never getting married because she wanted to live with me forever. But that was before the divorce. Before Laura slowly pushed me out of our daughter's life. Before I convinced myself it was better to keep the peace than fight for what was right. Laura was always strategic, polished, control disguised as kindness. When she remarried a businessman named Greg, I told myself it was fine. People move on. But the dynamics subtly shifted. Emma stopped calling as often. Then she stopped sharing things with me. Then she stopped staying at my place on weekends. Every time I brought it up, Laura had a different excuse. She's busy. She's tired. She has exams. You're stressing her without realizing. I let it happen, and that's a regret I'll carry forever. 3 months before the wedding, I got a text from Emma. Dad, I want you there, but please don't make things complicated. I stared at those words for a long time. What did complicated mean? Why did she sound like she was walking on eggshells? When I asked her about walking her down the aisle, she hesitated. Greg offered, she said softly, and Mom thinks it would make things smoother. Do you want him too? I asked. She hesitated again. Dad, please don't be upset. That was her answer. Not yes, not no, just fear of upsetting someone. But who? At the time, I blamed myself. I assumed Emma simply felt closer to Greg. Maybe he mentored her. Maybe he supported her in ways I didn't know. But after that message from the unknown number, I started to question everything. I opened my phone again to check a number. It wasn't saved. No caller ID. When I tried calling, it went straight to voicemail. A cold chill washed over me. Was it someone from the wedding? Someone who knew something I didn't? Someone who wanted to protect me? Or worse, someone trying to manipulate me? I needed answers. So I decided to go find them myself. I drove to the venue, a countryside estate where the rehearsal dinner was taking place that evening. When I arrived, something strange happened. People went quiet when they saw me. Not all at once, but in little ripples, like whispers passing through a crowd. Laura approached first, her smile tight, forced. "Why are you here, Daniel?" she asked. "Because I'm her father," I said. Greg stepped beside her, placing a hand on her back possessively. "We weren't expecting you," he said. I needed to see my daughter. Their eyes flickered at each other. A silent conversation. Laura swallowed. "Emma's getting her hair done. Maybe it's better if..." But then I heard my daughter's voice behind me. "Dad." Her face lit up, but not the way I remembered. More like relief mixed with anxiety. She hugged me, but Greg's eyes watched us like a hawk. Something was very, very wrong. That night, during the rehearsal dinner, I felt like an outsider in a place that should have been home. Conversations hushed when I walked by. People exchanged quick glances. Even Emma seemed conflicted, like she wanted to say something but couldn't. During dessert, I stepped outside for some air. That's when my phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. Another message. "You shouldn't have come. They're watching you." A cold shiver crawled over my skin. Before I could respond, the phone rang. The same number. I answered, but this time there was no whisper. There was frantic breathing. "They know you're there," the voice whispered. "You need to leave before they drag you into it." "Into what?" I hissed. "Into the lie. The lie Greg built. The lie Laura protected. The lie Emma was forced into." My pulse thudded in my ears. "What are you talking about? Who are you?" But the voice didn't give answers, only warnings. "They used you. They hid things from you. If you go tomorrow, you'll expose everything. And they won't let that happen." The line cut off. I leaned against the wall, breath shaky. Was Greg hiding something? Was Laura involved? Was Emma in danger? I had no idea. But I knew one thing. Someone was terrified. Terrified enough to warn me again and again. When I walked back inside, I noticed something strange. Greg was whispering to a man in a suit. A man who kept staring at me. Then Greg's eyes met mine. His expression didn't say, "Happy soon-to-be father-in-law." It said, "You're a problem." I needed answers. So I pulled Emma aside. "Hey," I said softly. "I feel like something's off. Talk to me." She bit her lip. "Dad, please don't start anything." "I'm not starting anything," I said. "But someone keeps contacting me. Someone who knows things about this wedding. About your mother. About Greg." Her face went pale. "They contacted you," she whispered. "What did they say?" "That I shouldn't come." She looked terrified, but not of the message, of me being told. Before she could answer, Laura swooped in like she'd been watching from the shadows. "Emma, sweetheart, the photographer needs you." Emma opened her mouth to protest. Laura tightened her grip on her daughter's arm. "Now." And just like that, Emma was dragged away. My chest tightened. This wasn't stress. This wasn't normal wedding chaos. This was fear. Real, genuine fear. And I needed to know why. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every warning, every whisper, every look Greg gave me replayed in my mind. So I did something I didn't expect. I went through the old box of divorce documents, the ones I had shoved into the back of my closet years ago, because reading them made me feel like a failure. That's when I found it. A forgotten envelope. Unopened. Postmarked 8 years earlier. From Emma's old therapist. My hand trembled as I opened it. Inside was a report, a mandatory transfer of therapist notes during a custody evaluation. Notes I had never seen. As I read them, my vision blurred. Emma had talked about someone making her uncomfortable. She never named them, but she repeatedly used phrases like, He makes me nervous. He says Mom wants him to be my new dad. He keeps asking me to call him that. The dates align perfectly with the year Laura began dating Greg. My stomach churned. I grabbed my phone and dialed the unknown number, desperate, shaking, angry. This time, the voice answered immediately. "You found it, didn't you?" the whisperer said quietly. "Who are you?" I demanded. "I'm the one who's been watching them," they said. "I'm the only one who knows what really happened back then. I'm the reason Emma finally spoke the truth." My breath caught. The truth about what? The voice trembled. "About Greg." Ice spread through my veins. The whisper continued. "He tried to make her dependent on him. He tried to isolate her. He manipulated her when she was young. And Laura protected him because she was terrified of losing him." I sank onto the edge of my bed. The room felt like it was collapsing. "And now," the whisperer said, voice breaking, "they convince Emma that marrying his business partner's son will keep everything hidden." "What?" "It's not a wedding," the whisperer continued. "It's a deal, a merger, a contract disguised as love. And Emma, your daughter, was pressured into it." I couldn't breathe. "But why warn me?" I asked. "Because you're the only one she ever felt safe with," the whisperer whispered. "And if you walk into that wedding, they'll know someone told you. And I can't protect you." The line went silent. Then the whisperer said, "I'm doing this for Emma. But you have to save her." The call ended. And in that moment, I realized the real betrayal wasn't toward me. It was toward my daughter. And I would not let it continue. When dawn broke, I didn't feel fear. I felt focus. The kind of sharp, cold clarity that only comes when everything you love is threatened. If the wedding was a contract, if Emma was trapped, if Greg and Laura had been manipulating her for years, then showing up quietly was an option. Stopping it, exposing it, was the only choice. I didn't know who the whisperer was, but they pushed me toward the truth. And now that I had it, I wasn't going to waste another second. My plan was simple. 1, find proof. 2, stop the ceremony. 3, bring him with me, no matter who tried to stand in the way. I started by visiting the therapist's office listed in the old document. Dr. Myers, an older woman with tired eyes, recognized me immediately. "Oh my," she whispered. "I always wondered why you never reached out." "What do you mean?" She sighed and walked me into her office. "Your ex-wife told me you weren't interested in Emma's emotional concerns. She said you didn't want the records." I clenched my jaw. That was a lie. She nodded softly. There were many lies. Dr. Myers didn't break confidentiality, but she did say something heavy. Emma was a very confused young girl. She felt trapped between loyalty and discomfort. She trusted you deeply, but she was told you didn't want to hear her pain. My chest ached. Before I left, she slipped something into my hand, the original assessment form. "Be careful," she whispered. "You're not the first person they've tried to silence." Her words echoed the whisperer's warning. Next, I went to the wedding venue early. The staff looked surprised to see me. Greg, however, looked furious. He marched toward me, his jaw tight. "What are you doing here?" We said. "I'm here for my daughter," I said firmly. "You're not welcome," he snapped. "Then call the police," I said, stepping closer. "Let's see how fast they investigate everything I've learned." His face paled just for a second, but it was enough. He knew something. He feared something. That gave me strength to continue. I needed Emma. I needed to talk to her alone. But I wouldn't get the chance unless someone helped me. That someone came from the shadows of the hallway. A young man in a security uniform. He approached slowly. "You're Daniel," he whispered. "Yes." He swallowed nervously. "I'm the one who called you." I stared at the young man. He was barely his 20s. Brown hair, pale, shaking hands. "You," I whispered. "You're the one who warned me?" He nodded quickly. "My name is Noah," he said. "I work security here. I used to date Emma. Years before she met her fiancé." My pulse jumped. "You dated my daughter?" He nodded again. "She was the kindest person I've ever met. but she was scared of her family. She never said much, but she didn't need to. I saw things. I heard things. I know how Greg treated her when no one else was around. Rage simmered in my chest. Why reach out now? I asked, because Emma deserves a real choice, he whispered. And tomorrow they're going to take it from her. Where is she? I demanded. He motioned for me to follow. We slipped through service hallways, past kitchen staff, down a corridor leading to the dressing rooms. Noah stopped at a closed door. She's in there. I gently knocked. Emma? It's me. Silence. Then a soft sob. When she opened the door, her eyes were red and swollen. She looked like someone who had been crying for hours. Dad, she whispered. I stepped inside and closed the door. What's going on, sweetheart? She broke. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she fell into my arms. I don't want this, she cried. I don't want any of this. My heart cracked. Then we'll leave, I said. Right now, you and me. She shook her head. They won't let me. Who? She hesitated and whispered. Greg. I clenched my fist so hard my nails dug into my palms. He said if I backed out, Mom would lose everything, that I'd ruin their business, that it would be my fault. I cupped her face. Sweetheart, none of that is your responsibility, and you don't owe anyone your life. Suddenly, the door burst open. Greg stood there, flanked by two men in suits. What the hell is going on? He barked. I stepped in front of Emma. She's not going through with this. Move, he growled. She has obligations. She has nothing owed to you. I snapped. Greg smirked. You think you can walk out with her? You think she'll choose you? He leaned in close. She barely remembers what kind of father you used to be. I didn't react, because I knew anger was what he wanted. Instead, I whispered, she remembers enough to know you're not one. His smile faded, and that was a moment security radioed that someone was causing a disturbance. Noah whispered, now is your chance. Take her. I'll stall them. Emma grabbed my hand, and we ran, down the hall, through a side exit, into the parking lot. People stared. Voices shouted behind us. But we kept going, and for the first time in years, Emma wasn't being led. She was breaking free. We didn't stop driving until the estate was nothing but a distant blur behind us. Emma cried quietly as I drove, not from fear now, but from relief. The kind of relief that comes when you finally step out of someone else's shadow. We stopped at a lake she used to love when she was little. She sat on the hood of the car, hugging her knees. I thought I had to do what they wanted, she whispered. I thought saying no would destroy everything. Emma, I said, sitting beside her, they manipulated you. They built their world on fear. But you don't have to live inside it. She wiped her eyes. I didn't think you'd still care. My throat tightened. I never stopped caring. I just didn't know how to fight them without losing you. She leaned her head on my shoulder. You didn't lose me. We talked for hours. About her fears. About the years she felt controlled. About the lies Greg and Laura told her. And somewhere in the middle of that conversation, Emma laughed. A real, genuine laugh. Something I hadn't heard in years. We didn't return to the wedding. Not that day. Not ever. Instead, Emma stayed with me. She took time to rebuild herself, to rediscover who she was without pressure or expectations. She broke off the engagement. The groom didn't fight it, which told us everything we needed to know about that relationship. Greg tried calling dozens of times. He sent threats, legal warnings, guilt trips. But Emma didn't bend this time. The truth was out, and everything he built started to crumble. As for Laura, she apologized months later. Tears, regret, explanations I wasn't sure I could forgive. But Emma did, and that was enough for me. Looking back, I realized something painful. Sometimes betrayal doesn't come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from people who tell themselves they're doing the right thing, even as they destroy the people they love. Emma wasn't weak. She wasn't naive. She was manipulated. And I wasn't absent because I didn't care. I was absent because I believed lies that made me feel powerless. But fear only controls you if you allow it. That unknown message, that whisper in the dark, wasn't a warning about danger. It was a reminder that I still had time to fight, that I still mattered as a father, that Emma still needed me. In the end, I didn't save her. We saved each other. And now, when I think of that day, when I think of the wedding that never happened, I don't feel regret. I feel gratitude. Because sometimes the most important moments in our lives begin with just one sentence. Don't go. And sometimes not going is exactly what saves everything.